This week is going to be an amazing week. I can already tell from the start of it. Happy Monday to every single person out there. And this market is, whoo! It's just dying to break out for stocks like SoFi, for software, for even AMD could very well be getting a very nice push higher this week. So in today's episode, going to be talking about some market updates for today. It is 10:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so the market's been open now for a good almost 45 minutes, 42 minutes here. Going to be talking about SoFi for a little bit. Going to be talking about a big catalyst for chips. NVDA is going to be reporting earnings. That's going to be on Wednesday after hours. That's going to be huge for the entire semi market, hardware primarily. And then I want to do kind of really a little bit talking about Walmart, which is going to be dropping earnings Thursday as well. Walmart is pretty much on the opposite side of NVIDIA because we're going to be getting a lot of info pretty much based on the consumer, how much people are spending. And let's face reality, here in America, Americans, we tend to spend money until we don't have money, right? So Walmart's earnings are pretty much seen as always kind of like a feel good for the market. But I mean, you got two gigantic companies reporting earnings this week, and this market can very much sway. On top of it, too, we also have a new Fed governor that is officially the Fed governor. He's going to be doing his first FOMC meeting next month, June 17th. That's going to be huge. But it really comes down to a couple things, which is really the reason why this market right now, for companies like SoFi, which is very much reliant on inflation, aka interest rate cuts, you're seeing a nice, very much push higher. Oil is $100, it was actually 102, 103 or late last night. But the reason why we're getting a lot of green, in my opinion, is because, well, there's a lot of really good momentum based around that, hey, maybe this is going to be wrapped up relatively soon. And I've been talking about this now for the last month. It's just taking a lot longer, but it really is political suicide for the Republicans. And this YouTube channel is not like a political channel at all. I can't stand politics, but you got to talk about politics because the market is being restrained by dumbasses in Washington, D.C. Dumbasses on the Republican and Democrat side. Politicians across the board. I'm just really not a fan of. So, yeah. Once we go ahead and get stuff out of the way, primarily in the Middle East, you're going to see oil surging to the downside. That's going to relieve a tremendous amount of pressure from the Federal Reserve to really get off the notion about rate cuts. And I mean, headlines right now, Iran says talks ongoing through Pakistan, focus on a war ending. What we're not seeing is basically attacks pretty much taking place. And the market, let alone, I think the world, is very much liking that. We're still very much in a ceasefire for the time being, which is really good. Attacks, back and forth really aren't happening, let alone Donald Trump has pretty much saying, hey, the combat side of Operation Epic Fury is basically pretty much over. Now we're going through a negotiation phase, but now he's flip-flopping back and forth. A lot of it really has to do with just putting pressure on Iran to pretty much come up with a deal. But what is really holding this market from making its gains, or rather I should say, let's go back to Friday. Friday, I put out and by the way, if you are new here, welcome. This YouTube channel is still relatively new. This channel is going to be massively growing very soon. I'm going to be advertising this YouTube channel among my other ones, probably maybe later this week or early next week. My main YouTube channel, NightmareRH on YouTube, 200,000 plus subscribers. So we're going to be getting a lot of stock-loving baboons like myself probably coming over. But if you enjoy my content, I put out videos Monday through Friday. Smash the like button, entirely free, and subscribe for more, and check back here on a daily basis, just in case you don't get notified. But on Friday, we saw a very much red in the market. And that had a lot to do with very much rate hike fears. And understand that the market is very much driven by algos, by bots. It's a crybaby mentality, but you can make so much money, so much life-changing money if you understand how the algos really pretty much work. And right now for the stock market, I mean, the market is looking into the future, and what we're seeing into the future, oh boy, well, here is one prime example. I actually do like this a lot, the AI investment survey. This comes out every Wednesday, and last Wednesday on the 13th, pretty much it was dead in the middle. Obviously, more people moved from neutral to bearish, but I really do like this one because this tends to be the atmosphere of pretty much the stock market. Now, does this mean anything for like investing in stocks? It actually does. Because if you have a bearish sentiment of 52% on here, that means stocks are crashing and nobody wants to be buying stocks, and you should be buying stocks. Like I've been buying stocks in the last 6-7 months. The last 6-7 months, I have bought over $70,000 worth of hard cash stocks. Not a margin, hard cash. And I've been posting my buys publicly on this channel. Over 40 grand worth of buys on this channel publicly. And you got to be buying stocks, because when nobody wants to be purchasing stocks, that's the greatest time to get in. But something that the market is looking for right now is basically pretty much, where is this? Oh boy, I thought I had this up here. Here we go. 30 days away to the new Fed governor's first meeting, FOMC. This is going to be on June 17th. Yep, June 17th. So are we going to be getting a rate cut? More than likely, no. But here's something that I will say. Back in November, I started putting out content on this channel practically every single day. And back in November, we had a very small % chance of getting a rate cut in December. Powell came out and shocked the market with a rate cut. And we legitimately got a 25 basis point rate cut. Understand that these are based on algos, and in a matter of a day, a week, this can go ahead and change entirely. What would make this change? The war in Iran is over. Oil is getting below 80 bucks again, probably back on its way below 70. A lot of bears are saying that it's going to take years for oil to get that low. That's bullshit. You just need to literally solve the stuff in the Middle East. Oil is going to drop to where it was before the war. Especially if we do enter a peace time with Iran, you're going to see oil very much plummeting, especially before midterms, okay? Understand that when you listen to people, you need to understand if they're a bear or bull. I'm an American bull. I love my country, and I'm also a patriot, and I also am a veteran as well, too. So I am an American bull. I'm also not a perma bull, which means just buy anything and it's going to go up for the future, okay? I'm a realistic bull. I'm not an idealist. I'm a realistic human being that just is a simple bull. But the bears are pretty much saying oil is going to remain very much elevated for years. Years. No, that is a stupid bear argument. And a lot of those people don't even own stocks. They own precious metals, or they own treasury bonds. You gotta understand who you're listening to, okay? I've made this mistake before. I've listened to bears, and I didn't buy stocks when I really should have. And then I'm like, wait a second, you know, I don't have my money in treasury bonds, so what am I doing? You gotta understand who you're listening to. Now, as we go further out, we basically pretty much see all the way to 27 January. This is where we see rate hikes, and this is what is scaring the market shitless right now, is because if we go 6 months out, we pretty much see that, hey, rate hikes are on the table. Can rate hikes go away in a blink of an eye? Yeah, they can, easily. How do you solve this? Well, you fix what's going on in the Middle East, and that's pretty much about it. Okay, it's very simple. Fix what's happening in the Middle East, inflation's going to come down, and inflation is not at a uncontrollable level like it was in 2022. I was in the market during 2022. Things were insane. Not to mention, companies' earnings were decelerating, not accelerating. Okay? These companies, SoFi, AMD, Adobe, Hood, Palantir, Meta, PayPal, ServiceNow, JPN, NVDA, Microsoft, yeah, I skipped over Tesla, CRM, Salesforce, and many, many others, they are accelerating, okay? They're not decelerating. Google, Amazon, Oracle, I actually sold my Oracle stock fairly recently, made over 40% profit on that. So these companies' earnings are accelerating, very different than 2022. So, the market very much needs to stabilize, and the way it's going to stabilize, honestly, is by ending the stuff in the Middle East. Now, I want to shift gears and talk about pretty much NVIDIA. NVIDIA reports earnings this Wednesday. It's going to be no shell shocker. Water cheers, by the way. Today's my cardio day. It is going to be 90 plus degrees, so got to stay hydrated. NVIDIA is going to come in and smash numbers. Why is this? Well, it's because Microsoft is spending hundreds of bills on CapEx, capital expenditure, Oracle, Amazon, Google, and Meta. And they're buying NVIDIA. On the flip side, NVIDIA is going to smash earnings, but in my opinion, I really feel that this is going to propel AMD to pretty much get back rock and rolling past all-time highs. Call me crazy, but we can see AMD very much in 500 territory in the next couple weeks, especially if we get phenomenal guidance from NVIDIA. Understand that if NVIDIA is benefiting, you're going to have secondary companies like AMD benefiting tremendously. Now, this is something very key to listen for in NVIDIA's earnings. I'm going to be listening for this. You got to be listening for if Jensen sounds a little uneasy talking about market share. AMD could very well be mentioned, maybe from an analyst, maybe from it's, or maybe not directly, but indirectly. What do I mean by indirectly? Market share. Hey, we are growing like crazy. Our net revenue is growing, our gross, our everything's growing for the company. We're also seeing, our margins are holding, everything's holding. Market share is very much stable. Stable might be a word. Market share is showing some volatility. That could also be just anything around like market share, okay? Because as AMD grows, they're eating NVIDIA's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So their market share in the global community is going to be shrinking. And that's the reason why I'm heavily invested in AMD, okay? AMD is a play, in my opinion. Obviously, if you got into Intel very well could have been the play too. The government very much backed Intel. But I see AMD as very much being the winner chicken dinner, and so does pretty much the vast majority of Wall Street. The vast majority of retail. Wall Street is very still heavily invested into NVIDIA. But as NVIDIA very much continues to hit just a cap on a ceiling of growth rates, we're going to see AMD's growth rates accelerate and surpass NVIDIA's growth rates. Keep it simple. let's say NVIDIA has a growth rate of 30%, but AMD now is growing at 35, 40%. Well, if you're a growth investor, guess what? AMD is more attractive. Okay, it's just 101 growth investing. I'm a growth investor. So AMD is very much more attractive in my opinion. Not an FA, but I mean, hey, if you've been following me along on this channel, you know my philosophy that there's going to be a point in time, and it's going to be very soon, that AMD is going to surpass NVIDIA by growth rates. And this is what's going to propel AMD well beyond $1,000 a share. Okay, there are super bulls that are screaming that AMD is going to overtake NVIDIA on a global company. Those people I love, but those people are they're too bullish, too bull. Okay, AMD, honestly, we could see in the next maybe 12, 24 months of AMD share price being well beyond $1,500 a share. It's and that is based on their guidance, and that's based on what their earnings just put up phenomenal growth rates. Now, Walmart, to really sum stuff up in this conclusion. So Walmart has been on a utter tear over the last really 3 months, pretty much really flat. Let's look at 1 year. 1 year for Walmart. You're talking very nice. I mean, Walmart, $91, 40% in the last year. Walmart is a very stable company. A lot of people that don't really want volatility in the market very much go to companies like Apple on the tech side. Let alone you can just buy the major indexes. You can buy the SPY, the Qs, the IWM. But Walmart is seen as pretty much a safe haven for a tangible company. Obviously, Apple is tangible, but it's also a tech company as well, too, and very much a safe haven. But Walmart has been just on very much a tear. I mean, for a big company like this to pretty much be up on a year basis of about 40%, $91 as high now as 132. I mean, if you own Walmart, I mean, if you were buying Walmart in the last couple of years, you're doing very well. I mean, you're talking about August 24, Walmart has just been on a very much good tear. Is this a bad thing? Absolutely not. Walmart is very consumer driven. So, Walmart and NVIDIA both has been known to really sway the market. NVIDIA is probably going to sway the market, in my opinion, to keep this semi-rally going. And then you have Walmart pretty much swaying the market. I do believe Walmart's going to come very much in good numbers, very much probably have great forward guidance, and they can very much sway the low end of the market too. I'm still very bullish on this summer. I think that this summer is going to be a tear, very much a tear, kind of like last year's summer. Maybe not as much of a tear as last year's summer, but very much a good upward push into midterms. And I do see positive things in the Middle East, forward looking. And 2027 could also be a banger as well too. As always, do your due diligence. Take everything I said with a grain of salt, and understand that at the end of the day, you need to do what is best for you, your soul, and also your family. If you do not like volatility in the market, well, there are safe stocks out there that can ease that. Obviously, if you can handle some swings, like I've definitely been in the last several months, you're going to be just fine. All right, new video tomorrow for Taco Tuesday. Tomorrow, I'm going to be going through my public profile on this YouTube channel, talking about pretty much what I see. Probably going to be buying some stock either middle this week or later in the week. I try to buy stock on a weekly basis, if not every other week. So definitely stay tuned for that info. Otherwise, be safe, enjoy the weather if you're in a hot area like me, and take it easy, everyone. Later.